Welcome to another Leading with Purpose Friday Digest. I want to talk a little bit about something that I unpacked with a couple of organizations this week around leadership not being a one-size-fits-all. I think something that happens so often is we want to embrace our authentic style, especially as leaders. But I think sometimes it can feel like a performance, like you're playing a role that your actual style doesn't quite fit. Possibly you've seen a leader lead very differently than how you would. But what if leadership was really about embracing your authentic self and living or leading out of that place? One of the things I ask is then how do you unpack your leadership from a place of strength? Something that we've seen, and there's been so much research to back it up with, is some commonalities amongst the greatest leaders. I mean, we probably have all heard and seen these things, but the first one that comes to mind is great leaders have high emotional intelligence, right? There's a lot of self-awareness. There's a lot of self-control. So how are they doing that? How are they tapping into who they are and then honing it, leaning into it, and becoming great leaders with that strength? A second one is that the greatest leaders are great listeners. They're curious. They're filled with empathy. And they have a genuine interest in other people. So I was thinking about some of the top strengths that I've, thought of characteristically that carry those things. And then I begin to think about, what about a strategic, somebody who has high strategic strength, or someone who is highly futuristic, how they excel naturally at envisioning the future, developing long-term plans, and embracing other people's ideas through their analytical nature by asking questions, by inspiring a team with clear vision. They listen to understand more, and in that, they build a cohesive team together. Thought how fun that is to use your strengths in that space. Another thing that great leaders have in common is they're vulnerable. They're candid. Especially, I think, in regards to ability, feedback, accountability. And I started thinking about how strengths like communication and ideation, some of the strengths that put things together that other people wouldn't necessarily think of, right? Those are strengths that can motivate other people with passion or with innovation, with ideas. These leaders can lead from a place of enthusiasm, using that candid, vulnerable positioning to really empower their teams to think outside of the box. What would happen if we did this? Ooh, I like that. What about if we added this to it? Another common trait in great leaders is they exhibit humility. They're constant learners. They're always seeking new ways of understanding where people are coming from, new ways to grow their understanding of what people mean. And I think maintaining that internal code of ethics, having a clear, very, very clear foundation in personal values is one of the things that makes them so great. So I think about the relator strength. I think about the harmony strength. If those may be on the top of your list, how does that strength build strong connection inside of your team that fosters not just a positive environment, but also it creates a space where people feel valued. And when everyone feels valued, there's trust. And that's one of the biggest benefits of authentic leadership, is that increased trust. Whenever people trust, people follow. So when you're genuine, your team trusts your intentions, they trust your leadership. There's more engagement. I know we've spoken to that in the past. But people connect with authenticity. And so the more you can dig into, how do I motivate my work, force my people by being who I am? How do I leverage what I have to give them more. I encourage you to keep developing. Keep looking at your authentic leadership presence even, and embrace who you are. Own it, grow it, and become the best leader that you can be. Be comfortable with vulnerability. Stay authentic and acknowledge when you are missing the mark.